We're getting an update on the meeting between the foreign secretaries of India and Pakistan. According to sources from the Pakistan side, all outstanding issues, including that of Jammu and Kashmir, has been discussed. The Pakistan foreign secretary even emphasized that Kashmir remains a core issue that requires a solution. So that's the latest information that we're getting from the Pakistan side. They seem to have received the information even while the meeting is currently underway. We'll get more details about this information that we have just received, and according to sources from the Pakistan side, they believe that outstanding issues, including that of Jammu and Kashmir, has been discussed between the two foreign secretaries, Aizaz Ahmad Chaudhary and S Jaishankar, who have met and who are meeting currently. Okay, so that's the latest bit of news that we are just getting in. These are visuals of that meeting that took place an hour ago when the foreign secretary reached South Block to meet S Jaishankar, the Indian foreign secretary, and we believe that there's some information coming in from the Pakistan side that all outstanding issues, even that related to Jammu and Kashmir, has been taken up. The Pakistan foreign secretary, we believe, has emphasized that Kashmir still remains a core matter that requires an urgent solution. But this information still needs to be confirmed. This is the version that we're hearing from the Pakistan side. This is indeed a very crucial meet that is taking place. Maha Siddiqui joins us for the very latest on this. Maha, do we have confirmation about this information coming in from the Pakistan side that Kashmir was raised in this interaction between Aizaz Chaudhary and S Jaishankar?
Well, it wouldn't be a surprise if this matter was raised, because Pakistan has definitely come with its own agenda of raising certain issues, including the issue of Kashmir, which it repeatedly tries to raise. Now, this version that we're getting of what is being discussed inside during the foreign secretary's meeting is from the Pakistan side. Let's also remember that this version from the Pakistan High Commission spokesperson on the issue of Kashmir having been raised, and the foreign secretary of Pakistan emphasizing that Kashmir remains a core issue between the two sides, has been put out even before that meeting had in fact got over. So we have to wait as to what the Indian side has to say, because despite repeatedly approaching, the Indian side is waiting for putting out a proper statement on this issue. Once the meeting gets over, they are going to tell the media on what exactly was discussed. At the moment, India will ask them that this is what the Pakistan side is saying. They are keeping tight-lipped.
Okay, they're remaining tight-lipped and they're not divulging anything more than this. We also have with us former Secretary with the Ministry of External Affairs, Mr. K.C. Singh, who has been speaking to us on India Today. Mr. K.C. Singh, thank you so much for speaking to us all this while. Now, are you surprised that Pakistan would release this kind of information and these pointers while the meeting is still underway?
No, not surprised at all. They're trying to show that this is a foreign secretary level. These are the talks that they were seeking at the foreign secretary level, whereas we've been insisting that please resolve the terror issue first, and that only the NSAs will meet, the foreign secretaries will not meet, because that was the mandate in Bangkok, that the foreign secretaries will work on resumption of comprehensive dialogue. Now they want to make it appear that this is actually the beginning of that process, whereas the Indian foreign secretary, by not sitting across the table, making it as a call on him in his own office, is making it as one of a series of calls by visiting delegations who come for a conference on Afghanistan. So we will hear two different sets of opinions coming out, but surely we can't stop from Pakistan from raising whatever they want to raise. Their foreign secretary comes with his own agenda and can raise whatever he wants to raise. But whether that was an agreed upon agenda or not, that's a different matter. I don't think that's the agreed agenda. That is their unilateral agenda, and they are free to raise whatever they want to raise.
Okay, editor India Today Shiv Arur is also joining us. Shiv, so the Pakistan side, they can release whatever information they would like, they can raise whatever matter they would like, but do you think they would address the most important question about what they have done against the perpetrators of the Pathankot terror attacks, or even for that matter the Mumbai terror attacks? India has been constantly engaging constructively with Pakistan, but what have we got in return?
Avantika, while that is a perfect question, the immediate issue here is, as Smita and Maha were pointing out just a short while ago, we haven't even heard from the two foreign secretaries themselves. Pointers haven't been released by both sides. The officials are still meeting. Even as we speak, the officials are actually still meeting at Hyderabad House in Delhi at this point of time, and yet you've got the Pakistan government spokesperson going ahead and issuing this statement talking about how Kashmir remains a focal point.
Yes.
Now obviously they've come pre-prepared with certain issues. There is full awareness of what can and cannot slow down talks or facilitate greater advancement as far as cooperation is concerned. But it appears that Pakistan doesn't seem to be really in the mood for that. As Ambassador K.C. Singh said, India wants one thing, Pakistan wants entirely another. India wants the focus to be on terror and sorting out all of those issues that you just mentioned and listed. Pakistan doesn't appear to be in a mood for that. At least they haven't demonstrated anything of that kind so far. And by jumping the gun before the talks are even over, and specifically bringing out Kashmir, talking about how it is the focal point of talks, and really sort of pushing its agenda before India has even had a chance to respond to those pointers, smacks of what Pakistan has always been known for, pushing its agenda, not really cooperating, and sort of making a mockery out of this being a bilateral discussion at any level.
And also provoking India repeatedly, isn't it, Shiv? There's always been an attempt to, derail a dialogue process between, ministers, between both the countries. If the Pakistan army is not on the same page as the civilian government, who have always managed to spike any efforts at normalizing ties with India, then what can we expect from this meeting as well?
Precisely. That's precisely the point, Avantika. And remember, just a couple of weeks ago, you had the Pakistan High Commissioner to India saying talks had been suspended. Pakistan has always tried to blame India for the quote-unquote breakdown or the suspension in talks. It has always been India doesn't want to talk about certain things. India doesn't want to address the issue of Kashmir. India is responsible for the breakdown of talks. So the Pakistan's campaign or propaganda to the world has always been that India is not cooperating. India doesn't want to address certain core issues. So why should Pakistan cooperate back with them? So at this stage, I think this has already set a pretty negative tone that Pakistan has gone ahead and released pointers of this kind and talked about Kashmir. We'll have to see what during the joint briefing precisely what more points actually emerge at this time. But it's not looking really good. If the history of the last few rounds of talks in the last 18 months is anything to go by, it's not looking very good. But I think we should still be optimistic and wait for those pointers.
Absolutely, Shiv. Thanks so much. We also have with us from Islamabad, Kaswar Klasra. Kaswar, Pakistan already setting a negative tone, releasing pointers, releasing information even before, the talks have ended. We've still not got an official word from either of the foreign secretaries, but we already have information that, where they mentioned that all standing issues related to Jammu and Kashmir have been taken up. What does, one make of this kind of information being released just before the meeting has ended?
Yes, definitely. It's a really interesting question. What is the agenda of meeting? What I am getting information from resources in Islamabad, they told us that the important thing is Pakistani delegation is not there for bilateral talks. Rather, they flew from Pakistan for Delhi and just to participate in Heart of Asia conference. Definitely, a lot of things can be discussed over there, but that is relating to development in Afghanistan and other things relating to the South Asian region as well. But on the other side, yes, definitely the two sides were expecting, and definitely we have seen that the foreign secretaries of two Pakistans and India have met, and the question that we don't have the pointers and then we are not told what is going to be the agenda, that is very much clear. Definitely India would like to talk on terror, and definitely Pakistan is victim of terrorism as well. Pakistan has some other reason as well. Definitely Pakistan in the meeting, on the sideline of the meeting of Heart of Asia conference, definitely Pakistani side, what we are told here in Pakistan, that they will definitely raise, they will raise the issue of arrest of allegedly Indian spy Kulbhushan Chaudhary. But one thing is important, that is, at least we have seen some ice breaking. The meeting of two foreign secretary level the foreign secretaries in New Delhi itself is ice-breaking, as Mr. KP Singh was telling us that we must be optimistic, but we don't see any breakthrough during these such type of talks at the moment. We must be optimistic, but we can't expect any fruitful result or any breakthrough in this meeting.
All right. Stay with me, Kasper. We also have with us Defence Analyst, retired Lieutenant General Talat Masood. Sir, thank you so much for speaking to us on India Today. It's an important day for both the countries. The foreign secretaries are meeting. We are seeing some movement in the long stall dialogue. What do you expect from this meeting? We already have, some information that has come out while the meeting is still underway, that all outstanding issues related to, Jammu and Kashmir have already been discussed. And this is when the meeting is still going on.
Well, I think it's a good beginning, at least because after all they have not been talking for quite some time, especially since the Pathankot incident. There has been a lot of tension and the talks were suspended, although there was a hope that the talks would start, but that incident, put everything off. So I think it's a very sensible thing that they are taking advantage of this meeting in Delhi and meeting together, although it was meant essentially for Afghanistan, but on the sidelines it is one of the more important aspects, because Afghanistan's stability is also connected in a way with India-Pakistan relations in a big way.
Yes.
If they both cooperate, then things can be much better for Afghanistan and also for the people of the entire region. So I don't see any reason why both the countries should not take this opportunity and try to sort of re-engage, because you cannot do without engagement, even if you have serious differences, which we do have.
Yes.
I don't think the solution lies in trying to cut off communication.
So while you stress on the importance of re-engaging, with each other to initiate dialogue process, we haven't really seen anything concrete coming out of, the talks. There has to be a reason why, talks have been suspended in the past. India is seeking to gain knowledge about the action taken by Pakistan against the perpetrators of Pathankot terror attacks. Your team from Pakistan was even in Pathankot, but we did get reports that they were in complete denial, saying that India was responsible for those terror attacks. So I feel that in a scenario like this, how do you see that, these talks will yield to something more constructive and more concrete?
I think in that sense you are right. That both the countries will have to be very sincere and genuine about trying to address the problems which are faced by each other. For instance, the Pathankot incident, I think Pakistan needs to be as transparent and as interested in the Pathankot in the investigations, but at the same time you should realize that you have to give access to Pakistani investigators so that there is sufficient justification within Pakistan to pursue the problem. Because as you know, because of the differences, it seems that whenever an incident like this happens, everything stalls and no serious action is taken. This has been the history.
Yes.
But they wanted to change that history and bring, a new chapter in the relationship, and that can only be built, I fully agree, unless there is confidence between the two countries. But for that, I think you need to sort of really provide sufficient evidence so that Pakistan can convince its own people here that the ones that you are blaming are genuinely involved, and the courts here can then take action against them.
All right, Mr. Talat Masood, thanks so much. We also have with us Smita Sharma joining us. She's, of course, covering the Foreign Secretary level talks that is currently underway. Smita, we've seen, a lot of blame game in the past. We've seen how the NSA level talks were called off. But then after that, there was, a glimmer of hope. There was a slight thaw in the Chile diplomatic relations, when Prime Minister Modi made that surprise stopover in Lahore. How optimistic are you? You cover this so, so closely. How optimistic are you that something concrete will come out from these Foreign Secretary level talks?
Avantika, when it comes to relationship between New Delhi and Islamabad, there's no dearth really of the highs and the lows, the extremes, the happiness, the jubilation and the utter disappointments. What is most important and most crucially missing in this relationship is that feeling of consistency and stability. And that is what is very, very difficult to come by, which makes this relationship just so much more complicated. I'm outside South Block right now. It's sweltering. The temperature, I think, is above 40 degrees. All the camera persons and and the reporters there actually sweating it out. My iPhone just gave up. It actually flashed out a message saying you need to cool your phone before you can use it. But in this heat, the talks are still on for the last, in fact, almost 45 minutes now. We were expecting the talks to be somewhere between 45 minutes to an hour. They started around 20 minutes late compared to the scheduled time. And what is more perplexing, even as the two foreign secretaries still remain inside the chambers, the Pakistan High Commission and the Pakistan Foreign Ministry has actually put out its statement saying that the talks, that there was an expression from the Pakistan Foreign Secretary's side that they need to have better relationship, they need to have a dialogue process, and also that Kashmir was issued, that Pakistan reiterated on the fact that a UN-led solution needs to be there for Kashmir. So this is very, very perplexing, these statements coming out even before the talks have officially concluded.
Absolutely. You know, that's what's surprising. Mr. Kesing Singh, I want to ask you this question, that the Pakistan army was not very happy about the UFA declaration, and they are definitely not on the same page as that of the government. Do you think that, you know, the Indian government's resolve to stay the course is repeatedly tested, because they have, you know, on many occasions reached out first to ensure that there is some normalization of relations? Our own Prime Minister, you know, flew all the way to Lahore to meet the Prime Minister of Pakistan, and yet we haven't really got, you know, the kind of response that at least we are expecting of them.
If that is the kind of statement which is coming out from their foreign ministry, then clearly this is they are working, as we always think, in tandem with the army, and they want to keep the focus on Kashmir and away from terror. And this itself is an indication that they don't expect anything much from the discussion. They realize that India will remain fixated on the terror issue. They are not going to move much on the Pathankot issue beyond what they have already done. And it's effectively what the High Commissioner said, the talks are suspended. So what they are saying is, if you want us to move on terror, then you start moving on these issues, which is then going back to where it started, which is what has been happening for the last 20 years, that you have dialogue and terror at the same time. So when in opposition, the opposition party criticizes it, and when they are in power, they start again testing it out. But essentially, Pakistan is not willing to give up that linkage and using terror as an instrument of state policy, though denying that they have any links to those terrorists. And the additional dimension that we have now, which has made it more complex, is that they started picking up Indian citizens, probably from a neighboring country, and presenting them as conspirators who are foisting terror on Pakistan. So which means it's got more complicated rather than less complicated, because they're trying to create an equivalence, a moral equivalence, a terrorism equivalence, and say you're doing the same, so stop discussing it with us, get down to the core issue. And so each side, or rather Pakistan, is playing to the gallery. So if you're playing to the gallery, particularly when we know this summer things are hot in the valley, we've had sporadic violence, and if they are not meeting the Hurriyat, then this is their way of keeping the focus on Kashmir. Any delegation coming here will keep the focus on Kashmir.
And that's exactly what they're doing. We also have with us right now Rajiv Dogra, who's the former Indian Consul General to Karachi, Pakistan. Sir, thank you so much for speaking to us on India Today. Now, how do you view, you know, this complicated situation that has been for the last you know, several months now? Finally, we are seeing some movement in the stalled dialogue process. What are you expecting of this Foreign Secretary level talks?
Well, the only movement I see is the flight from Islamabad to Delhi, which brought the Pakistani Foreign Secretary here, but not for dialogue, because that dialogue had been pronounced dead by Abdul Basit. And to complicate matters further and to rub it in, about 3 days back, he met Andrea Asrabi. Now, if we did not get the message then I think it is a sad reflection on us, not on Pakistan. As far as movement is concerned, from the Pakistani side, it is 4 steps forward. As far as we are concerned, I think it is back to 2, 3, 4 years back, when Kashmir was not on agenda and had been on agenda in the past decade or so.
Absolutely.
Pakistan has announced loud and clear that, look, this is going to be our agenda, this is going to be our way of tackling issues, and you better be prepared for it. As far as terror is concerned, despite your pronouncements, that means Indian pronouncements, that is off the table.
Right.
On Pathankot, we did not make any noise. It served them very well. So, if you're talking of movement, I think the movement is from Pakistani side forward in their agenda. If there is any movement from the Indian side, it seems a slide back.
So in that scenario, Mr. Dogra, what do you suggest? What is the way forward? How can both these countries, get over this very deep-rooted mutual mistrust that, both the nations have? Should we expedite dialogue, or, should these talks be called off altogether, that till, India does not see concrete action or sincerity in the ongoing probe, that talks do not take place? What is the way forward? What do you propose?
Well, first, I don't think we should equate ourselves with Pakistan. We should not use words like mutual distrust, because the distrust is from our side. We have been suffering.
Yes.
I don't think Pakistan has suffered from Indian actions or Indian terror, even on, let's say, a minuscule basis compared to what they have done to us.
True.
And why can't we for once be a little brave to put the common parlance word and tell Pakistan where it gets off on Kashmir issue? Why are we so defensive? We have 2 resolutions in Parliament in the last 10 years or so which say the entire Jammu and Kashmir belongs to India, including POK, Gilgit, Baltistan and so on.
Yes.
Pakistani Foreign Secretary is here. Why can't we tell him that there is no way that China-Pakistan economic corridor should be built, because it goes through the Indian territory, which is now called POK?
Right.
So why can't we announce it to our own people that we have for once taken a stand which is worth India's name? Right. If we are lame, if we are apologetic, if we appease all the time, they will keep on pressing us for more concessions. And that is exactly what is happening.
True. Right. Mr. Dogra, Mr. K.C. Singh, Kaswar and Smita, thank you all for joining us and sharing, all the updates from the meeting that is still presently going on, and sharing with us your perspective. We will, of course, continue to get you the very latest. This is going to be our top focus story right here on India Today. But
5 Indian police personnel, including a police inspector, have been arrested from Nepal on Sunday. The police arrested them near Sanagon. The Indian police personnel claimed that they have